Man with a Movie Camera, The Modern City Through Vertov's Lens. Kinoai and the City, Modern Vision into Dziga Vertov's Man with a Movie Camera. Hi, I'm Tia Fleming. Today I'm talking about Man with a Movie Camera and how Vertov uses the camera. What he calls the Kinoai as a new way of seeing the modern city, the idea that the camera doesn't just record life, it actually changes how we see it. I'll connect Vertov's film to some big thinkers of modernity, like Baudelaire's Flaneur, Poe's City Crowd, Simmel's idea of the overloaded modern mind, and to Walter Benjamin and Karl Marx's ideas about technology, politics, and perception. I'll also touch on how Fourierist artists shared some of Vertov's excitement for speed and machines, but used it differently. The Soviet 1920s avant-garde film, and Vertov. Man with a Movie Camera came out in 1929, during a time where the Soviet Union was obsessed with building a new kind of society. The 1920s avant-garde pushed boundaries in art, film, and technology. Vertov was a part of that. He believed that film could teach people to see the modern world in a new way. He worked with documentary footage and montage instead of actors or scripted stories. One thing to note is that Soviet doesn't always mean Russian. Vertov's work crossed into different Soviet regions, including Moscow, Odessa, and Kiev, which is important when we think about how history gets labeled. His film captures the buzz of urban life, factories, trams, people working, but it also shows the process of filmmaking itself, like he's reminding us that cinema is a part of modern life too. Modernity, machines, and technology. The early 20th century was a time full of change. Cars, factories, and machines were everywhere. People's lives became faster and more mechanical. Technology was exciting, but also overwhelming. Vertov saw the camera as a part of this new machine world, a tool that could see things humans couldn't. It could capture motion, speed, and connections that our eyes miss. This idea connects to Marx, who wrote about how machines shape society, and also artists like the Fourierists, who celebrated the beauty and energy of the modern world. City subjects: Flaneur, crowd, and metropolis. To understand how Vertov shows city life, it helps to look at earlier writers who tried to make sense of modern cities. In Baudelaire's The Painter of Modern Life, the Flaneur is an interesting observer walking through the city, just watching people and moments pass by. Poe's The Man of the Crowd takes that same city scene but makes it kind of unsettling, about anonymity and the feeling of being lost in the crowd. Then there's George Simmel, who wrote about how living in the city overloads your senses and makes you kind of detached, just to cope. Vertov's film feels like all three at once. It's fascinated by people and movement, like the Flaneur, but it also studies the crowd scientifically. The camera doesn't just wander, it investigates. Kinoai and montage as ways of knowing. Vertov saw the camera as an extension of the human body, an eye that could see more sharply, move faster, and notice patterns that we miss. That's what he meant by Kinoai. In Man with a Movie Camera, montage, the way the shots are edited together, isn't just for drama, it's how meaning gets built. By cutting between machines, workers, and city streets, Vertov creates a rhythm that helps us understand how everything connects. It's both poetic and scientific at the same time. The camera almost becomes a thinker, organizing bits of reality so we can see how the modern life really works. Benjamin and mechanical reproduction. Walter Benjamin's The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction helps explain why Vertov's film feels so modern. Benjamin said that once art can be copied, like photos or films, it loses its aura, that special one-of-a-kind feeling. But he also thought this was freeing, because it made art available to everyone. Vertov uses this idea by showing that film can train the masses to see differently. His city isn't just filmed once, it's constantly being remade through editing and projection. Vertov uses reproducibility to turn spectators into active viewers, not passive ones, but Benjamin's question still lingers. Does this new kind of vision make us more aware or more numb? Furious speed versus Kino eye analysis. The Furists, like Marinetti and Boccioni, loved machines, speed, and noise. Their art tried to capture movement and energy. Vertov's editing sometimes looks like that too. It's fast, rhythmic, and obsessed with technology. But their goals were really different. The Furists often glorified wars and destruction as a part of progress, but Vertov's energy feels more collective and hopeful. He celebrates workers, cities, and film as tools for social change, not just chaos or beauty. So while their styles might look similar, Vertov's message has a very different heart. Marx and the Politics of Vision. Reading into Vertov with Marx in mind does add another layer. In the Communist Manifesto, Marx talks about how the modern city is organized around production: the factory, the worker, the machine. Vertov's film literally shows that world. The camera turns production into a visual rhythm, making labor visible and important. You could say the Kino eye acts like a Marxist tool, revealing the hidden systems behind everyday life. But there's a tension here too. The film was made under a Soviet state, so its message about progress and labor also fits into that propaganda context. Vertov's vision is political, but not simple. What scholars say about Vertov. Two big names in Vertov studies are Annette Michelson and Richard Taylor. Michelson focuses on Vertov's idea about knowledge. She says that his editing style tries to turn film into a kind of scientific way of seeing, a step away from illusion and towards understanding. Taylor, on the other hand, looks more at the political side. He reminds us that Vertov's work happened inside a state system that used art for propaganda. Together, they show both sides of Vertov, the experimental artist and the political filmmaker. That mix is what makes Man with the Movie Camera so fascinating even today. Legacy: Vertov's influence today. Vertov's ideas didn't stop in the 1920s. We still live with them today. His style of editing influenced documentaries, music videos, and experimental films. The idea of the Kino eye is basically how we live nowadays, always filming, posting, and watching. Our phones are like mini Kino eyes. We constantly capture and edit our lives. Vertov wanted people to learn how to see differently through technology. That's something we're still figuring out today. Example of Vertov's influence today. One clear example is the Cinematic Orchestra. In 2003, they made a soundtrack and performed live music to Man with a Movie Camera, essentially reworking Vertov's film for a modern audience. Their album and performances show how Vertov's film can be reused and reinterpreted. And how his editing rhythm still inspires musicians and performers today. Conclusion: film is training and reflection. To wrap up, Man with a Movie Camera isn't just about watching the city, it's about learning how to see it. Vertov uses film to train perception, to make people notice patterns and relationships in modern life. When we see his ideas connect with writers like Baudelaire, Poe, Simela, Benjamin, and Marx, we see how modern vision became both artistic and political. Vertov's Kino Eye asks us to think about who gets to shape what we see, and how technology changes the way we understand the world. It's a film that still feels alive today, because we're still figuring out what it means to see through machines. And cut. The end.